yours is kinda tilted. The foundation is strong because Jehovah built it. You can feel the spirit and positive energy. Questions asked comfortably like you're talking with family. Get ready to settle in. Wait for the show to begin. Invite a couple of friends. It's time for Unhinged.
Introduce to you Get You Home Towing, a family company with the sole purpose to get you home. Whether you need roadside assistance or transport services, we have a flatbed big enough to transport any vehicle to its destination. Our offer to you is our gratitude and great service at a much cheaper price. We are also open to transport through long distances. If you need us, all you have to do is call that number. I'll see you soon.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? I mean, what's really going on? Thank you so much for tuning in. You've tuned into Unhinged Live. I'm your host, Nikita Tilted Halo Hansford, and I'm sitting alongside my very good girlfriend, Karen Sims Harrell of Twisted Threads LLC, and baby, we have an awesome conversation lined up for you all tonight. I want to take a pause and go ahead and say welcome to all of our replay viewers who are going to join us at a later date and time. Y'all already know it's all love. We appreciate you tuning in. And if you enjoy what you hear going on here at the platform, do us a favor. Hit like, hit share. Go on over into the YouTube nation and follow us on all of our channels. Y'all know we are our own syndicate. So you can catch us at Unhinged Live on YouTube. You can catch us at Twisted Threads on YouTube. You can catch us at Save the Arts TV on YouTube. And you can also catch us on Tilted Halo TV on YouTube. So thank you again for your support. I do not want to delay the hour, Karen, because I'm excited about tonight's conversation. My goodness. I don't want to let the cat out the bag too quick. Let me go ahead and give a quick rundown on what's going to happen on tonight's show. Of course, we're going to check in with one another. I got to double back, give our super fan shout out for the week, and of course, get into this good conversation with tonight's guest. So I'm going to rewind that back, take a sip of water. Yeah, that's better. I got to ask you, Karen. Yes. I mean, it's not like I didn't just see you. How are you? Did you have a good day?
I actually did have a good day. You know, the days kind of went very, very quickly. I had a special guest at my home this past weekend. You may know her. You know, she might be familiar to you down these parts. We're going to call her the road runner right now, you know, because literally ate up the road, came on down and shared family, love, and joy, and then went and headed right back up the road. I promise it was just that swift. But how could I not have a good day when we were able to have some time together face to face with the shenanigans, able to spend an unexpected, we say unexpected, I think it was unexpected, but it was definitely deliberately planned, right? We got to get that sister friend time in. We got to get that time to not only connect, but to share with one another. And so we shared some of that sweet potato pie. We shared some of that turkey and stuff. And we shared some of, goodness gracious, can I just say, because shout out to my sister for all of the cooking and for her hosting our family for this past holiday. But I'm told that within hours after our departure, she went ahead and did the flip turn upside down and got that house right back to the way that she enjoys it all by herself. So just super excited that I got that time. And I'm chilling. You know, we're in December already.
Oh, yeah. December is absolutely in the building. And girl, it is type cold around these parts. I thought I left the cold behind as I was driving through Virginia on my way back. My car said 22 degrees. I said, Father God, I thank you for working heat in my Altima right now. Listen, it was a bit cold. And most people thought I was heading down to warm weather. And I had to tell them it's not the case. But Karen, I thank you so much for being such an awesome host. Your generosity and kindness has never gone unnoticed. And I promise you, as I was sitting there, I know I was a little off to the side, but I was taking my own journey down memory lane, just looking like, wow, these some grown people. I remember when y'all wasn't even here, pretty much. So it was a great time to be able to fellowship with you. Shout out to our dream coach, OG Kilo, Rasheem Pugh. It was great being able to connect with that brother. Even though we've been connected in the craft for so many years, it was nice to be able to touch ground and break bread with my brother. And I hope to see you again soon. We got to have some more conversations. But check it out. I don't know if you all have been paying attention over the years. Karen often shares that I'm pretty famous for my peach cobbler. Listen here. I got to tell y'all, y'all don't need a patty pie. You need a Karen pie. That's what you really need. Listen here. I'm so proud of myself for not devouring that sweet potato pie that you crafted by myself. I did bring some in to share with my family. LJ and them got a little taste. And you know, yeah.
Thank you.
You might want to mark this. You might want to mark it.
I love it. I love it. That's what you get to do when you are baking in love. I tell people, listen, if you could get in the kitchen by yourself and nobody's bothering you, and then pull out the good appliances, right? Like maybe it worked for everybody else, but when I pull out the good appliances, that's all I'm gonna say. We take it up another level when we get to do extra. That's all we gonna say. So I was in the kitchen. It was me and the Lord with them pies. So I'm glad that it turned out well, and so happy that you and your family enjoyed it.
Oh, yes. Those pies are absolutely righteous, sis. But look, I'm looking at the clock and, we got home training. Like I said, it's cold outside and we have guests out on the porch and we got to practice a good home training. But of course, we got to give our weekly shout out. I got to give a good shout out this week. So sis, are you back there on the ones and twos right now?
I am. I think I'm where I'm supposed to be.
All right. Can I get a drum roll, please?
Yes. Oh, wait. I get the other one.
Well, that's fine. This is actually appropriate. Put a little thump on that. I see you, sis. I see you. So check it out. Lean in close, because tonight's Superfan shout out is a very good friend of mine. And I know y'all, a friend of mine in the comments section on my regular page, basically noted that I was out here showing out. I posted a photo that was taken by a good friend of mine some years ago, actually about 5 years ago, right after my mother passed away. It was about 6 months later. And it was part of my healing journey to get back in front of the camera. Y'all know I call myself trying to model out here in these streets. Mm-hmm. So I took a trip down to Virginia and finally allowed my good friend, Oluwaseun Asade, to just shoot me in a specialty shoot. I just had some, memories today looking at pictures of my mother. And this photo shoot came to mind. So tonight's Superfan shout out goes to you, Olu. Now, Olu is our brother from the motherland. He is Nigerian. He is an excellent father to his son, Alex. And for those of you who are curious, no, we were not alone that night. Olu is a consummate professional. And baby, he is bad behind that camera lens. So I want to go ahead and give you a shout out tonight, Olu. Thank you again for always being constant in my life, always speaking life and giving advice. You are an excellent businessman. And as I've mentioned, you are an excellent father. It's amazing to me that I'm able to see that your son is now taller than you. Yeah, I said it. He got you, Olu. But thank you so much for everything you do to uplift your community, locally and worldwide. Your international photography is breathtaking. And if you all want to connect with him, you all can connect with him on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. He's everywhere. Images by Confesta. Oluwaseun Asade. And those of you all who are a part of the Interstar community, you might be familiar with him because he was nominated as a photographer this year. Though he chose not to accept, I found that out in a later conversation because he would be traveling. Yeah, he's part of the family, and many of the people in the circle have worked with him. So shout out to you. I hope to see you soon. I've got some ideas. We need to have a conversation. Is there anything that you would like to add to that, Karen?
Just happy to see his artistry. Just a great photographer, all of the things. So congrats to you. And next time we're going to see how we can get that acceptance, right? Get him on those stages so folks know the amazing work that he's doing. So
listen, you know, it's always been my dream, and he knows this, and so does Afate. It's always been my vision to get the two of them together in the same space and let that magic just kind of like bang, in your face. Let it happen. You know how I do, creative architect that I am.
When you know. That's super exciting.
Yes, ma'am.
So
yes, ma'am. So listen, I'm going to go ahead and toss the mic, y'all. Y'all know I have no problem sitting back and letting the members of the tribe steer the ship. So, Coach Cash,
yes,
take it away.
Awesome. Listen, we've told you for the last couple of days, grab your passports because y'all know how we do. We tell you we taking you on this joy tsunami, and we love the opportunity to bring folks, always folks of substance, right? But when messages align, and I'm telling y'all, Tilty gonna be quiet for 5 seconds, right? Once we dig into this conversation. So I always know which guest we bring that's gonna spark that opportunity for her to be like, yeah, I'm sitting on the sidelines, but what about this? And so I'm gonna bring this mother-daughter on the stage, and I'm gonna ask them to introduce themselves to our audience. Why? Because I want us, one, to get it right, but I want y'all to know kind of the blessing that it is. And I shared when they came on tonight kind of how this version of events came about. And it was literally, we were at a National Book Festival in Houston, Texas, and Mom met my husband first and started talking to him about some things. And he's like, hold up, wait a minute, let's put some cash up in it. And so he said, you need to meet my wife. And from the time talking to her and meeting her beautiful daughter and talking about the book, here is where we are. So we're going to bring them right on our stage right now. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. So excited for you all to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. So, not my first time meeting you all, but definitely an opportunity. You know, I'm going to share a little bit, Tam, because we were in a room with over 100 Black authors, right? Now, Just imagine, it was a lot going on. That's all.
It was busy. It was busy.
It was a lot going on, but to be able to take that opportunity to kind of learn the snippets of each of the authors that was there, you know, the journey that had brought you to that moment in time. And we real on this show. That's all I can say. Not everybody's story resonated with us, right? So everybody didn't get an invite.
No.
Everybody did not get an invite. And you are. But as you all were telling your story, you know, I got to speak to Mom first and then you, Tam, secondly. And it was just like, yeah, this is the right thing. You all have done some amazing work to tell the story. So I want to be quiet for a minute because we love to give our guests the opportunity to give a little bit of your origin story, right? Like, who are you? What was kind of the premise around writing this book, and why now? Those are the 3 questions. So I'm gonna let you.
Right. Yes. Great question. You know, I guess I'll take this one. We have been going back and forth, and we started trying to write this book. We always would go through and jot down, hey, we're gonna write this book. And we would jot down some notes and everything else. And then honestly and truly, mother-daughter combo, we would clash so much. And then after that, I'd be like, I ain't doing it. And then she'd be like, I ain't doing it. So I just looked up in 2025, I had wrote it on my vision board to write a book. And I knew it was this one. But we to collectively, I think we had probably like 150 pages already written. It was really more so us getting together and figuring out the focus. And it was so much. It was so complex. And it was, involved so many people, so many family members and everything else. And as, nobody gets younger. So it was one of those things where I knew I wanted to go through. Her story is so powerful to me. And then not only that, but just how, from her daughter's standpoint, how do I fulfill those shoes? How do I write my story for, where I come from and everything, and that legacy. That's really what I wanted to go through and I wanted to write about in the book. Is at one point I felt lost because I didn't know where I was going to go from there. I had lost that identity because I was so used to the hustle and bustle and the Lakeview Palladium and how it had ingrained in our lives, in our daily lives. So it was really hard to kind of transition to what's my next step going to be. And I was like, if I'm going through this, what about other people?
Yeah. Can you take us back just a little bit to talk? So this being brand new to many of our listeners.
Oh, yeah.
What Lakeview Palladium is, what your family's legacy was with that as well. Yeah.
So the book is called Lakeview Palladium. You can get it on Amazon. We are over if you are in the Houston area, it is at Painted Tree in Sugarland and also in Champions. And we also have it at Copperfield Books on Louetta in Houston, Texas. Nice. So the Lakeview Palladium is I looked at it as the Black Convention Hall back in the day, in the 70s and 80s. It was originated by my grandfather, George Tuck Jr., and it used to be on an amusement park facility, and they end up closing down the amusement park because 2 people had passed away. Wow. On one of the rides. So the city and lack of funds just kind of shut the amusement park down. And then my grandfather had acquired a large sum of money, and he ended up buying the Lakeview Palladium. He ended up buying the whole lot, and they still had this ballroom hall. And the ballroom hall, they used to try and have events at other places in the area. However, because of the color of the skin and, just different areas of town, we weren't invited to those places. Mm-hmm. So my grandmother always had a vision to create a stage where we could perform and we could showcase our talents and gifts and everything else. So we had different performers like Aretha Franklin, to the Temptations, Smokey Robinson, and then my kind of era, Heavy D and the Boys, Roxanne Shante, Run DMC was there. So, it was always jumping. It was always a party. It was always fun. It was always true love. So, and just creating that environment, a safe environment at that time for Black people in Dayton, Ohio.
I love it.
My mother she was a visionary. She believed in the Black community. She always wanted what was best for the community. Her first club was a club called the Lavender Lounge, and that's because Mama loved jazz, but she loved getting people together and them having a good time and enjoying themselves. From there, she went to opening up a supper club, because back in Ohio at that time, Black people couldn't go to a nice restaurant. And she felt like we all needed to know how to act at a restaurant with our kids. Yeah. So it became a big thing because on Sunday, the Black churches would have service, and then people would come to our restaurant to have a fashionable dinner. But her whole thing was always for the community, whatever she could think of, whatever she could do to enhance and increase our community is why they did all of these different things.
I love it. I love it. And I love the history of, when you were mentioning all of the different guests that came in, right? And what things you were able to see during that time. So Mom, I'm a point this question to you, because this is like, are we 3 generations in as we talking about this? Talking
Yes.
about your mom,
Yes.
you, and your daughter. What does that feel like for you to know?
Oh my goodness.
Is out there?
Amazing. The pride, I don't know if you can see it, but it always comes out because when she started, we were doing different articles, and then we would stop, and then she would start right back. So you were constantly having to share with her what had happened in the past. And listen, you couldn't go without giving her all of the details. Don't leave out any details, because she will come back and ask you again. So as she kept going, as she kept writing, as we kept talking, I realized then that we were definitely looking at a legacy thing. From me to her, from my mom to all of us. So it was amazing. But I am very one proud mom that it comes out the way that it does.
Awesome.
Because it's just not a book. It's a series.
Here, you got it.
Series of stories, activities, and things that happen that cause you as a Black person in this world to be able to go on to know that you can succeed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I definitely appreciate you sharing that. And it's so super important, as we think about not just the legacy portion of this, but all of the stories that you had to share. So Mom, I'm going to ask you, what was one of your favorite stories that you got to share as part of this journey?
One of the favorite stories I had was with James Cleveland.
Yeah.
James Cleveland was amazing. He was already an amazing artist. You all know him as he came up. So that, and at that time, we were in financial difficulties. We needed a major sum of money. My mom had always kept addresses and phone numbers of producers or guys that you could contact. And his name was one of the ones I wasn't sure. And I didn't know if he really knew me. I knew he had known my mom, but I didn't know if he really knew me. And we were in a desperate, dire need for financial money. I called him and was shocked. One, that he actually answered the phone. So I'm talking to James Cleveland, and all I can do is tell him the truth. My dad had passed, Mom was gone, and we were in dire need of money. And could he come and do a show? He said, "What day do you want me to come?" I said, "Well, can you come? Can we do a Friday, Saturday?" He said, "Because I don't do Sundays." He said, "I don't do shows on Sunday." He said, "But I can come Friday and Saturday." And he said, "When I do come," he said, "you make sure that you advertise it and don't be cheap on the ticket." He came Friday, did 2 shows on Friday and 3 shows on Saturday. Y'all, if I tell y'all, we needed $80,000.
Wow.
When he left that day, I had $83,000. It took care of all our back taxes, all of our pending debts that were coming up. And all he said to me when he finished up was, "Is that good enough? Are you okay?" I said, yes, sir, I'm fine. I said, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. He said, well, God loves you and God bless you. And I enjoyed it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So
That
that
is
was kind of
beautiful.
stories that we had with everybody that came to perform.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. And I know you mentioned some other musical greats that came in. How was that to, of course, I'm sure it was so gracious to
It
interact
was
with
that
them.
was always amazing.
Yeah.
The other one that I tell people about that is, so if you heard these stories on Aretha, I think that's why I wear my Aretha sweatshirt. But Aretha had worked with so many different producers and companies, and a lot of times they wouldn't pay her money.
Mm-hmm.
So Aretha came and she was doing a show, and it was only a Saturday show. She was going to do 2 shows on Saturday. And she came in, and I had heard these stories about her, but I didn't really, I hadn't really seen it. Well, on this one, she came in, she put her purse on the piano. And she turned and she walked away, and she came back to the purse. Now, if the money that you told her you were going to pay her wasn't in the purse, she would pick up the purse and leave. But we had worked out an agreement for her for an amount, and we put the money in the purse. And after we did that, she had a dynamite show. It was amazing.
Love it, love it, love it. I love that one. We hear stories. We've seen all these biopics about, what was Aretha like, but I love it. It was like, you gonna get a show
You're
right
gonna
after
get a
you
show.
run me
You
my
got a
money.
show that was unbelievable. I mean, it was unbelievable. That was another good one.
Beautiful.
But that was my mom, and my mom had created those friendships with the producers and the promoters. So I had when she died, I had a whole list of people that I could call. I wasn't left without somebody that I couldn't call.
I love it. I love it. I love the stories themselves. But Tam, can you talk to us a little bit about how the work that you needed to do to bring all of that together, right? So many amazing stories. I could listen to each and every one. I'm sure our viewing audience as well. But how do you choose what gets in the book?
I know, right? What gets in and what gets what doesn't make it. A lot of this story was really to go through and document our legacy, how the Lakeview Palladium kind of came about, and the backstory with that. Yeah, my grandmother Catherine, unfortunately I did not get to meet her. She died when my mom was 15, and that's how my mom became and worked towards becoming this boss. It's a chapter in the book called Boss Baby, and that's where she learned from Catherine all of what she taught us to this day. Right. So, making sure that we had our notes, our notebook, paying attention, the level of detail. I mean, it was always, we were always working. Me and my sister, we were just always in that particular grind mode and hustle mode. So it was definitely different. And then I remember even working at the Palladium at the age of 5. My job was to go through and put the liners in the trash cans. And it was probably about, it seemed like 100 trash cans, probably about 20 of them. But however, at that age, I'm just going through and I'm just going and putting liners in the trash can. I mean, everybody had a job. Everybody had a responsibility. So the book really goes more into that legacy. And then we do highlight on, who all was there and how Catherine was able to start bringing in talents, acts into Dayton, Ohio, at that particular time, which is a General Motors. It was a General Motors city. So you had all of these people migrating from the South, coming up to the North, trying to get a good factory job, raise their family. And they were. And the city was really just going through this thriving point. And people was making good money. And they were like, what do we do with it? It's nothing to do. So these avenues, these doors start opening and stages start opening. And it really started with, you know, Catherine and her story of the Tuck Supper Club to the Lavender Lounge. And then my grandfather on the other side of that, he had his own thing going on, you know, so where he was dealing numbers and, you know, constantly in this racketeering mode. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting story. Definitely got to check out the book at www.lakeviewpalladium.com.
I love that. So Tam, I'm gonna ask you.
All right.
Out of all of the stories that you have been introduced to, some of them you lived yourself. What might have been one that caught you by surprise? Like what?
Oh, I always have to resonate back to the Heavy D concert. I was 7. It was on my 7th birthday. And I just remember begging mommy. I was like, mommy, all I want to do is I want to be with you. Can I go to the Heavy D concert? Can I go to the Heavy D concert? And my dad, he actually did not want me to go, of course. Because why? Because I'm 7. But I remember what I had on and everything. I had on a pink stonewash outfit. I was like, I thought I was hot stuff. Yes. So we get into this concert, and then like I see Heavy D come in, and then it's like a set of steps that they can go down, and they go down into like their dressing room area and everything else. And he was very particular. He needed like a special tea. And I just remember mommy going off. She like, he need everything. Yeah, but it's Heavy D. Like, this is his first album too, okay? So and then he got on the stage, and he was like sitting in my room with my smoking jacket on, and I mean going off. I mean, it's just, I'm like all hyped up. I'm in the crowd. I'm 7 years old. I remember a girl looking at me saying, that's why I don't like coming here, because they got all of these kids in here. And I was like, I looked at her like, the audacity. Like, what?
Don't you see my
sister? I was supposed to be with my sister. My sister is like 9 years older than me. So she's like 18 or 17. She was 17. And I'm like 7. So I'm like, I'm supposed to be with her. As soon as like we walked in, I looked to the right and she went to the left. So
Wow.
It was Heavy
so
D.
I was pretty much like on my own. Heavy D dropped the mic and was like, this sound system is not working. And everybody like looking around like, we can hear you just fine. Just keep on, you know, performing. And he walked off the stage. When I tell you Dayton, Ohio stood up and went crazy, thank God my cousin was right there. He said, what are you doing here? And swooped me up and took me up to the office. And that's where I rested. And I was just like, I went to sleep. So, but it was so memorable. So memorable. Yes.
All right. Well, listen, this conversation has been an entire vibe, and you started talking specifically about Heavy D, and I'm an absolute music lover. If you were to give the Palladium a soundtrack,
oh,
what 3 songs would be included in that soundtrack?
I would have to say the Ohio Players roller coaster, because that's where they kind of, mommy used to have battles of the bands at the Lakeview Palladium, and they were one of the battles, one of the bands that would come and battle. So of course Lakeside too. And you know, I'm going with all the Dayton artists. So, and then you got to go with Zapp and Roger, you know.
Okay.
So yes, of course. So I those would be, I guess, like my top three, Dayton local artists that, definitely they were just constantly always through there. So.
Okay. So which song from Zap would you choose specifically?
Oh yeah, More Bounce.
Okay.
More Bounce to the ounce. Yeah.
Okay.
All of these were all coming up
I'm here
during
for
your
it.
teen years.
No, well, Kathy's teen years, I was probably still like elementary school. Yeah.
Wow. That
But I was definitely exposed to a lot of it. And then after that, she started getting into the political arena. And in the political arena, we had Jesse Jackson come when he was running for president. Bill Clinton had came. So we had quite a few, and a lot of local politicians that she helped out with their campaigns and everything else. So definitely sprung into that as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate all of this, going down memory lane, hearing all about the amazing stories. And I just I heard a little bit about maybe a series coming out of this. Are there more stories to come, even as y'all finish this project here?
Well, I guess our next big thing, we have a holiday market, ABC holiday market coming up here in Houston, Texas, in North Houston, like right down the street from where we were at the NBBF. We are attending the Book Expo in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that. But I am working with a family member who also does producing and everything else as far as coming out with a documentary.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes, so I'm really excited about that.
We love all of the things artsy over here, all of the storytelling, and, I appreciate, because I know some of our time is winding, but I want to give one additional question in there. And that is, if you could speak to those folks who, like you, have very powerful stories about their family legacy, what words of encouragement would you give them about the process and digging into literally creating chronicles of grandma, moms, and dad and uncles' lives and life and times?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, and shout out to my cousin who went through and started sending us articles. And she was doing some family research and ran across these articles, and she sent them to us. And I looked at them and I'm like, I've seen these before. I'm good. Now I know what the story is. I've been there. I know. I lived it. So, and I had to hear about it over and over and over again. But so I took the articles and I set them down on a table. And my son got out of school and he comes home and he's looking through these articles and he's like, wait a minute. Who is this? I was like, Nana owned a nightclub, the Lakeview Palladium. We told you about it. And he was like, it was like this. I didn't realize it was articles and stuff on it. And he was like, where's the book? Where's it at in the book and the movie? And I was like, well, it didn't really make the book or the movies or anything else like that. So it was like, but you had the Temptations, you had, Smokey Robinson, Aretha Franklin.
His favorite is.
And Bill Withers was there too. So, and
he loves Bill Withers.
So, all of these other different artists, and he was like, well, this should be in a book somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, they don't really have a book. And he was like, why not? And that's when it hit. It was like, wait a minute, what's gonna happen with these stories with his kids and my niece's children and everything else? So I wanted to make sure that we were able to capture it on paper and we could put the stories in there so that not just for us. And I say all that to say that if you have that story, let it be told, because don't let nobody else write our history. We need to write our own history.
All right, now I'm gonna blame this next question on Tilted because she asked about the soundtrack, right? All right, Mom. All right, Tam. Who playing y'all in the movie version?
I don't know. I don't know. In the movie, who would play me?
Who's gonna play you? Yes.
I don't have anyone. I know I'd be looking for somebody who really reminded me of my mother.
Okay.
My mother was a pusher. She did not allow you to just sit. As a woman, she felt like if you knew something and you knew how to do it and you did it well, you need to get up and do it. Don't let anybody take that away from you, because we have so much to commit to for our communities. Like I said, her biggest thing was the community. And in Dayton, Ohio, at that point in time, it was big. It was with the auto industry, and Mom just felt like, y'all not going to walk over us and take everything from us. We're going to hold our own. We're going to control our own. We're going to own our own. And that was always her philosophy.
And then on the west side of Dayton, it was, even growing up, I remember a lot of people, it was Black banks. It was Black grocery stores. Everything. We had our whole community over in that area. Even the chain restaurants, even McDonald's was owned by Black franchise owners. So it was our own little community, and I loved it. I loved growing up in Dayton, Ohio, and I learned so much. Was taught a lot. So yeah.
Good stuff. I love that. All right. Tam, did you say who playing you? Who playing you?
And Beyonce. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still working on that. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely something in the making, and I
would love for this to come into a series, because when you start really going through the book, everybody, that's what I hear from a lot of people, is like, man, this should be a series. But we're gonna start off with documentary first, and then after that, we're gonna definitely work towards the next part.
Beautiful. Tilted, I want to give you an opportunity to see if you got any questions for our guests.
No, I don't have any more questions for the guest tonight. I've actually just enjoyed hearing the stories and being able to connect with the voices behind the stories, the people behind the stories. So thank you again, ladies, for joining us tonight. I'm all about legacy. And what you have here is a very important story that needs to be told. And I'm very appreciative of your words of encouragement to our listeners. Tam, tell your story. We push that real big here at Unhinged Live as authors ourselves, preparing to embark on yet another writing project together. We're telling our stories because, we too come from awesome legacies, as many of us do. And I like to share that we're all a walking testimony. All a walking epistle. And what I see sitting here tonight with the two of you is a testament to God's grace through it all. And what living a life focused on uplifting the community, how it can really, really spark joy in just the memories. I'm very observant. I'm watching you all tell the stories, and I just see the shine on your faces as you go down memory lane. And that's what it's all about. I'm looking forward to being able to step alongside you all when you release the documentary. Because we dabble over here in this part too. So yes. Continue to, our platform is always open to you once you touch down the first time.
Of course.
We really
yes, thank you again, ladies, so much for telling your story, sharing a bit of it at least. I want to give you one more opportunity to go ahead and tell our listeners where they can actually purchase your project, and how they can connect with you, book you for different book tours, different speaking engagements, because we're all, again, legacy. Your story needs to be told, and you just never know who might be listening tonight or at a later date that might want to holler at you.
Yes, definitely. You can reach you can catch me at my website, www.lakeviewpalladium.com, and that's LAKEVIEWPALLADIUM.com. So, and we do have, if you want to get the book, it is in Painted Tree in Sugarland and also in Champions, here in Houston, Texas, and at Copperfield Books as well. So we are definitely trying to get the book in more bookstores and on shelves, but still working on quite a bit of that stuff. And I mean, the book only came out September 15th.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I think it's been doing very well. It was featured in Frankfurt, Germany. We got it invited to Frankfurt, Germany, for that, and then also looking at some other venues as well. Again, we have our marketing event coming up here in Houston at Westador Civic Association, and then we will also be in Dayton, Ohio in June. We got to let all the cold weather pass by.
Yes.
I know that's right.
Yeah, it's getting cold down here too. So yeah,
got cold.
Yes.
Cold. We were like you.
But yeah, my email, my Facebook, Instagram, all of that is definitely on my website, up to date and everything else. So definitely check out the website, www.lakeviewpalladium.com.
Appreciate you all for joining us this evening, and we're gonna keep up to date with the projects that you have and with all of the wonderful things that you're doing. We see you got your tree up, everything ready for the holidays. We done already talked about sweet potato pies and whatnot. So
exactly.
Awesome. Well, we wish you all the best as you continue in your writing journey, and just are so very blessed that you accepted this invitation to join us, because really it is all about the legacy of us, not only telling our stories, but preserving the generational wealth that we have within the richness in those stories for our families and communities to help us build. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate your time. We're going to transition to another part of our show, but we just wanted to say thank you for joining us this evening, and we're going to have you back.
Of course, definitely.
So stay tuned for when we invite you back, one, for a catch up, but two, one, to continue to encourage our viewers and listeners as you all continue to do the amazing work you're doing too.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care. God bless. Happy holidays.
Same to you. Thanks. All right, Tilted. Listen.
Yes.
I told you it would be a thing.
Yes. Well, I told you I had my passport ready, because, we let Coach Cash out in these streets, and she brings home wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guests. So thank you again, Karen, for tonight's conversation.
Love it, love it, love it. Now, listen, we are not done, because we started some conversations that now that it's just, you, me, and the rest of the folks in the comment streets, it gives us the opportunity that as we've talked about it in the back end, but it's for that segment that we sing all the time. What's really going on?
What's really going on?
What's going on?
What's really going on?
Going on
What's
and
really
on
going
and
on?
on
What's
and on and
really
on.
going on? What's really going on?
Love it. So listen, you and I had some conversations over the time that you were here, and I'm not going. Yes.
Before you begin, I just want you to know I still got that piece of fudge. So while we're having a conversation tonight, go ahead.
I can't. Listen, I don't even know where to go with all of this stuff.
A little something for tonight's conversation, but go ahead. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. So we had a couple of conversations while we were here, and one of the things that I think is super important, right? We started talking about some things that we kind of grew up with, habits that we don't always think about why we do what we do, right? It's like, is that a trauma response? Do I do that because
Right. I
we
remember that
do these
conversation.
things, right? We do these things because we always do the things, right? And I mentioned something to you. We about to go somewhere, so y'all make sure y'all keep hold of them passports.
Get your notebooks and your pens.
Yeah, because we started talking, right? And this was before we had our time with Dream Coach. I think that was before the time. It might have been after, but the thing came up to our head where it was like, I don't even know why I do this. Like there are certain things,
Right.
and I'm gonna say it because we real over here, right? I rinse all of the when I take something out the cabinet, right? I rinse it off, right? Now my house is tip top clean. Why? Because my husband is OCD. That's a whole nother story, right? But I said, we started talking like, where'd that come from? I said, because it has not always been this way, right?
It's not always been this way.
We've had some other visitors and critters that sometimes was in the cabinets back in the day. Could we just put it right out there, right? We
roaches,
didn't
roaches, roaches. Get out of my house. Look, shout out to Jamie Foxx.
I love it. So now we still like do all of the things. We still do all of the things. And it's really interesting that we don't really ever talk about that. So y'all in the comment streets, come on and share something. I promise. What are those things in your life that you're like, now we are women of certain age, we're in our queen age, we're in our kingdom years, and we're trying to find the bullseye, right? That point
the root
that
of the matter.
Makes us tick. What makes us tick the way that we do, the ticking that we do? So I'm rinsing the dishes. It don't matter. So if I come to your house, I'm not saying that your house is dirty, right? Because we had that conversation. I had somebody get offended that I went in their cabinet, I got a dish out, I rinsed it off before I used it, right? Because they felt like I was saying something about them versus listen, I've been doing this a long time, and after we moved on up, maybe our mindset forgot to move fully with us.
All right, talk now.
Can I say that? So now when we move on up and maybe our mindset doesn't move on up, what are some of the battles that we might also be facing in that time? All right, I'm gonna stop talking and let me know.
Can I just share my story of honesty? What brought us to this conversation tonight was when I was talking to you about how we used to travel as children. I would travel with my grandmother. Right. And a lot of times this is where I became masterful at leaving and heading somewhere far at 2:00 in the morning. But allow me to digress. We talked about how Granny and them were always afraid to turn on the light in the cabin of the car while we were on the road. Because they were afraid that they were going to get in trouble. And I began to share with you that I asked about that one day, and I discovered, hey, they did that because, it was dangerous. They were in the South. My people hail from Mississippi and Memphis. So traveling in the South during that time, Grandma was born in 1930? Traveling in the South for people of color was not the thing to do. And they traveled in the dead of night because they had less of a chance of getting pulled over. So if they managed to turn on the light in the cabin of the car, they would reveal themselves and basically put themselves in danger of being pulled over or worse. I'm not even going to use the L word, but y'all picking up what I'm putting down. So I'm having this conversation with you because here I am on the road and it's dark. And I had actually turned on my cabin light, but I was quick to turn it off. And it was like, yo, Where does that come from? And I believe that led us to the conversation of, was that a trauma response? But you also used another phrase, Karen.
Yep. It's conditioned. We've been conditioned to.
So it's trauma conditioning.
Trauma conditioning, right?
Okay.
So it's weird because we've never, it's almost one of those things, and I'm gonna call somebody out on this, right? You take your kids to the doctor and the doctor say, what are you allergic to? And you tell the doctor the things that you're allergic to, not the things that maybe your child is allergic to. And then they always ask, well, what happens? And we be up in there lying because Johnny ain't never had lobster. So how we know that Johnny got an allergy to shellfish when he only been eating chicken fingers and fries? But we say, since I'm allergic, right, he must be allergic. And we condition our responses without even a thought for, well, shouldn't maybe Johnny should. I mean, I'm not saying that we should bring trauma to Johnny by giving him shellfish, but is it a possibility that maybe my individual allergy didn't get passed on, or maybe because I promise you. So here's the thing at our house, it's penicillin, right? Ain't nobody had penicillin since 1970 something, okay? But you ask these kids, and I bet you they tell you, I'm allergic to penicillin. What happens? What happened, Ma? You get a rash. Oh, did I ever get a rash? Now don't be asking me them questions, right? And they continue. We now the next we 3 generations into this at this point.
And don't nobody know why they're allergic to penicillin. They just are. But but that's the thing, Karen. It's crazy how we have these limitations that we place on ourselves, and we don't understand where they come from. It's like, here's the point in the penicillin conversation. That baby ain't never had no rash because he ain't never had no penicillin. And that penicillin that you done made him allergic to might be the very same thing that would save his life one day. But because you heard something from round the way, because a certain conversation or allergy was common, you just adopted that mindset and applied it to yourself when it was never really yours to own. Karen, I'm gonna need to throw something at this screen because we talking tonight. Go ahead, sis.
Listen, it's one of those things because you say it often this way. At my big age, right? At our big ages, are we gonna continue to dampen the impact in all different ways with our families, or are we gonna get to the root of the matter and actually figure out what are the things, right? Like now we all got allergies, we all allergic to the same thing, nobody can't go over there, and it could be even to the point of, and we've seen this in movies, right, where it's like, okay, we can't go to the house on the corner because whatever reason, or we could get religious with it as well, right? There's certain things that we never will do because somebody told us that's not the thing to do, and we'll never question it. We'll never find out what was the truth behind it, right? I promise you it'll be a conversation over here more than I want to. But
girl, and Karen, this is so wonderful because you have no idea how many situations I found myself in my life where I've had to, it's like, baby, why? And then I challenged someone to try something they're afraid of. And next thing you know, that becomes one of their favorite things to become doing. Like there's 2 myths in particular in our community that absolutely works my nerves. And maybe it's just the adventurous part of me. But I remember when I was married, my ex-husband said he was afraid of horses. And I'm like, why are you afraid of horses? And like we pointed out earlier in tonight's conversation, he was never able to give me a real story. So of course, on a weekend getaway, I booked the horseback riding trail. Yes, I do. Because you out here and you my man, and you supposed to ride with me. You finna ride with me.
Oh, that mercy. You serving up trauma.
Listen, no, I'm not serving up trauma. And that's the deal. I was basically enabling him to address a trauma that didn't necessarily exist.
Right.
So we got to the horse farm, and the gentleman was so nice, and he talked to us about the types of horses, and he allowed us to pet the horses and get familiar with the horses. And X discovered that the horse was a gentle creature. Next thing you know, we was about 3 horseback riding trips in, and I never heard that man say he was afraid of a horse anymore. Because I'm a girl from the West Side. We done been dolphins, swimming in ocean water, hopping and riding waves. We have been on snowmobiles, wave runners, jet skis, and I'm a swimmer. He can't swim, but I bet you I had him out in the middle of the ocean snorkeling. Listen, why?
Strap on that safety jacket. Come on.
Listen, because if we know our history for real, we would know that African Americans or Africans were considered the best swimmers in the world, and it's well documented in the slave chronicles and diaries and such. Don't let them get to the water, because once they get to the water, we ain't never gonna catch them. That's money gone.
Period.
So, I learned to swim because I didn't understand why people were afraid to swim. A lot of us are afraid to swim because, they don't want to rock their natural and deal with all this wonderfulness that God gave us. But, other than that, what is the real reason that our people are afraid of the water? Where does that come from?
And again, it's that demystifying the myths that we've been fed for so many years, right? And some of them, there are family mysteries. We don't know the history, we don't know all of the things that come together. But until we sit down somewhere, like this is all coming together from the story that we were just hearing about legacy, about family legacy. Because here's what happens when we share family legacy: we get to build and grow from there, right? I remember, shout out to all of the holiday youngins all of the youngins that's trying to get to the big people table, right? So I'm gonna give you this quick story, Tilted, and this was back when my Aunt Lou was still alive, and we would always go to her house for all of the major holidays. It didn't matter. Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, we would always go there, right? And I promise you, it was my heart's desire to get to the big people's table. I was like, I want to get to the table with the grown folks. I'm tired of sitting here. I've been bougie a long time. So I was ready to get to the adult table. Well, child, I get to the adult table, and I'm thinking we're going to talk about exciting stuff. I get to the adult table. They talking about blood pressure medicine. They talk about high cholesterol. I was like, send me back. Me, what is going on here? But one of the things that I will never forget is they were comparing notes on the struggles that they had with finding the medicine that actually worked for them, right? And so we're family. It's like, no, go to the doctor. Tell them to take you off of that. You got to do such and such, so and so. When I tell you, I was so disappointed when I got to that big people table and they talking about sick and shut in. I was upset. I'm taking my plate and I'm going back over here and I'm going to eat on the floor, okay? Because the kids, it's layers to this. If you was young enough, you ate on the floor. You ain't even get to sit at a table. I'm talking real family stuff, right? When it was not enough for y'all. Y'all had 6 chairs at the table, then was the grown folks, and you had the mini table, and then the rest of everybody else, you either lapped it up or you ate on the floor. Honey, I took my plate so happily back to that floor where I know what they talking about. I don't care nothing about that blood pressure medicine. But here's the thing that happened, right, that I got to take away. There are certain things that don't work for everybody, but if we band together, right, we get to do some things. Angela, you didn't like riding horses either? Okay, and then you rode one. Wait a minute. No, we always gonna go somewhere with Angela. I should have known. I should have known, Angela. I should have known.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Angela.
I am sorry. I'm sorry.
Try again, Angela. Try again.
I'm sorry. Listen, all of these things, you got to sit down and think about the reasons why. And then call Angela because she's going to give you some comic relief. outside of nothing else. She gonna give you some stuff. So
No, but that's real talk. But here's the deal. Sometimes we get stuck in our trauma response or trauma triggers, and we find ourselves in a continuing cycle that actually stifles us from being our true, authentic selves. Now, we say what is one of the songs? Ain't nothing like being free. There's nothing like being free. Where the spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom and liberty.
Love it.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. So when you begin to free your mind and dare to live outside of the communal stereotypes that have been handed to you as if they're your birthright, you got to take the time and really step outside the box. That's what Unhinged is all about. You got to step outside the box and discover what story you were told that actually didn't apply to you.
Come on.
What sauce did somebody, try to dip you in that basically wasn't your flavor? Real talk. I have 2 daughters, right? And we all got some thick, beautiful hair. And I've always encouraged keeping the hair natural for different medical purposes. And just, it's just the way I honor God. One child went the route of relaxers, bundles and such, while the other child embraced her natural hair and the different ways and things she can do with it and style her hair. That there in itself, I live it in my own family, watching that generational trauma play out and what you believe is your standard of beauty and owning it for yourself.
That's a fact.
I mean, again, if y'all been riding with us for a long time, you may have heard me share that, I've been called some names by my own family members because I choose not to put heat in my hair. And even was called the N-word at one point, told I had a hair, No, I have the hair that God gave me because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And since I'm fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, my Father, why not wear my hair just as I am and just as it TI is? Now, that's not knocking someone else and their own choices and how they present themselves, but what worked for me, and if y'all go back to through the archives, y'all will see that I rocked a tight doobie. Okay, and I had a master stylist in my head every single week. I would spend money, but I really didn't know my hair. So when I really wanted to get to know my hair and really took the time to do it, boom, I discovered that, hey, I never needed that hot burn the back of your ears and neck Jerry curl that they put in my head back in the day. I never needed that because my hair was curly. But somebody told us that it was our natural hair wasn't beautiful. Right. That was a societal lie. And shout out to the state of Pennsylvania, who recently enacted the Crown Act. That happened about 2 weeks ago. It's official. One more state added to the roster where we'll no longer be stopped dead in our tracks for coming out of the house naturally.
There you go.
Yeah, we're talking generational trauma tonight. We're talking generational trauma response, and basically handing people a trauma code that basically doesn't even come in their size. Can we talk about that, Karen?
And we shall.
Okay. Sometimes
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying sometimes when we get into doing that self-work and when we really run into those different blockages and break free from them ourselves, we have a responsibility to go back and even reprogram our own children and be honest with them about some of the mistakes that we made, because listen, our people perish for a lack of knowledge. I think it is extremely mature of a person who can go back and apologize to their own child for the wrongs that, they may have unknowingly committed. We impart some things again, because we're still growing, we're still working, and we're still becoming. And sometimes, they get misinformation. It's okay to redirect. That's what the huddle is about on the football field, ain't it, Karen?
Come on now. Yes, it is. It is. And I love, you know, what you're saying there about the, I don't even feel like it's okay to redirect. In this day and time, it's like we have to redirect because we know that the information, shout out to, you know, that streaming services. I'm watching Bel Air, right? And we don't see the seasons, but this season, Aunt Viv having a baby, and I'm cracking up. Don't ask me why this popped in my head while you saying this, right? But women of a certain age, you know, one, I'm a cheerleader for all y'all women who are over 35 and decide y'all want to birth babies, and I got you. I'm a cheer on the sideline. However, raising our children is a different experience than what the new mothers of today are experiencing, right? And so I wasn't tracking no poop. We was putting that in the garbage, okay? We wasn't tracking it. Oh, let's see the color, how big with the. I don't care. I never cared. You not gonna make me care, okay? No. So still now, I don't change diapers as Mimi because I'm not tracking. Put the word right where it needs to go because I ain't tracking it, okay? No, I will not.
Not at all. Not at all.
There are different strokes, not just for different folks, but it's also different time, right? Different things for different times. And so today's time requires a different level of parenting that I just no longer have the aptitude for. I don't have the desire for it. I don't want to do all of that. Now, if you need somebody to rock the baby, I got you. You need somebody to walk around, you got about 10 minutes out of me before that baby gets too heavy and I need to put them children down. Maybe that's just my kids, because honey, we birthed out some turkeys up ahead, like your arm gonna fall off. But when I saw the scenes about two things that kind of stuck with me, and it was she trying to tell these young girls, oh, just do so and so and so, right? Because you ain't gonna have no sleep no way. It ain't gonna matter. This baby number what, 4 for her, whatever. Most of these younger women, it was their first child. You can't tell nobody nothing when it's their first child because they got to read every book. It don't matter that the people who wrote the books also have no children, but we get it. It's a process, right? And for many of us, we're in a place in our life. If you are over 25, I'm going to say this. You have at least one time in your life taken a moment to say, I need to reevaluate. And these are words that, you know, they sound cute until you actually got to do them, right? I got to reevaluate my job, right? I got to reevaluate my, honey, we got to reevaluate our car insurance sometimes. It's not even that it's always that deep. But if you don't take the time for the evaluation, you're going to miss things that that your family is in need of. Your kids are going, these kids today ask the darndest questions. So you better do your research just to withstand 5 minutes with migraines, because they come up with some. Go ask your father. Don't ask me that. Ask your daddy, ask your mama. I don't know the answer to that. Mimi, how come? Well, and they want to know, and they're inquisitive. But for many of us, because we didn't grow up in an era that made space for us to share our thoughts, our feelings as children, our first thought would be brush them away, right? Don't let them have a mind, when in fact, we need not only for their brilliance to be on display, we need for their brilliance to be trained. And many of us need to do that same thing for ourselves. So I'm just saying, you know, don't drop no kids off at my house, because I'm going to treat them like the plants over here. They may not make it, okay?
Here's one for you.
Yes.
Here's one for you. As you were talking, this one thing came to mind, and you know, I've done everything in my power to make sure I don't become this person. That what was the thing that I believe caused mountains of trauma in many a household, not just households colors. The do as I say and not as I do. That was a whole mic drop moment, wasn't it?
But here's the challenge with that, right? How many of us are seeking therapy because of that one line?
Or how many of us are seeking validation on these various social media streets because of that one line? We're talking a trauma response. We're talking the trauma footprint. A lot of us still have yet to work on as we continue to navigate this thing called life together. Yeah. That's the one, ain't it, Karen?
Yeah,
That's the one.
that's
Do
the one.
as I say, not as I do.
And, you know, it's one thing that we've often said time and time again when we hear people say, you know, when you know better, you do better, when that is actually not true. Because you can know better and not have one inkling of care about doing better. But there is something that marries that, right? When you know better and you do better. That's a difference. That takes you to a whole nother level of experiencing life. And many of us are not experiencing life. We just, you know, we living, the bills is paid, the kids is over there, the spouse is over there, the car, the house, the church, the dot, 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 dot. And we could tell you that we're busy. But yeah, all right. Y'all gonna get into my reflections of purpose. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But just live your life. Live your life.
It's all good. Just hey. Oh, the little Rihanna came in my spirit. She's so prophetic.
Listen.
Hey. So I'm looking at the clock, making sure I got enough time to squeeze this one in here. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You know, you and I are both living once again in parallel universes. We touched on this a little bit in one of our recent tribe connections. And you asked us all what advice we would give to people, parenting adult children.
Right. Yeah.
So now I told you we got to continue that one there too, Karen.
Yes.
I'm very curious because again, we're Empress age at this point. We're queenagers, we're empresses. We out here just doing the thing, we're setting up new castles and we're setting up new Barbie homes for ourselves when the nest gets empty. But what happens when life throws a curveball into the life of your adult child? And you are required to come alongside them with a level of support that is unfamiliar terrain for you. How are we navigating those situations? I'm going to tell a little bit of my business because, we all about being real over here at Unhinged Live. Again, listen, my nest was empty for some years, y'all, and I was chilling. I was chilling real hard. And then life happened. And the nest no longer is empty. And I'm not unhappy about that because if any of y'all see my face and rounded out a little bit, this child been in here cooking and feeding me because she don't think I eat enough. Don't look at me in that tone of voice, Karen. She don't think I eat enough, but I eat plenty. Trust me. But yeah, what does it look like for so many of us? Right? Who are at the age of, dealing with adult children who may be going through unemployment because of the present economic times that we're living in, who may actually become displaced, who may actually, go through a form of a medical situation even. What is that looking like? And what happens when you have to bring the children home and the nest is no longer empty for you? You may got your little man now, your little husband thing, or something, where Karen, can we talk about this?
We could talk about it. And I think we need to talk about it, right? Because there's a lot of different things that go on with, we talk about this all the time of the premise behind stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? And it is a true thing. Like you should stay ready. And then sucker punch, uppercut, round kick, all of the things that bring us to a place where we know what to do, even in times when maybe our first thought is not the first choice that we should be going to. And so, from my side, it's been a blessing and a challenge at the same time. When my daughter decided she was going to move down, and this is kind of, she couldn't move in the house with me. Where the heck they going with all them children's, right? But the Lord allowed the way that now I had a rental property that was down here that she was able to move in. Now, did I want to do that? I don't know, because I'm her mama. I don't want to be her landlord. I'm a different person as a landlord. So that, certain things I don't need to know. And I thank the Lord for the blessing, right? That I had a place for them to go. But then it came with responsibilities that I would rather not. That's the answer. I would rather not. But we know what the right thing to do is, right? And the Lord calibrate us and have us to be all of the things. Fast forward 2 years ago with Raymond and his medical emergency, honey, I kept him where he was as long as I could, because it was like, I'm good. You good? All right, because you were able to experience the interaction with Raymond and I, okay? The most sarcastic child that I have, and he don't even use a lot of words. It's like, if you're going to tell me off, you're going to at least use at least 7 words if you're going to try to tell me off. How do you keep your sanity, right? How do you create spaces where you still have that, those times of peace, but also helping? Because as parents, we want to be helpful, right? Not enabling. We're not talking about enabling over here, but we're talking about if there is a need and there's a one of your children and they need to come to the helm. Well, one, I have to teach my kids that I'm married now, because they don't care nothing about that. Let me just say that right now. It ain't no, they like, this is my mama house. Who? I'm like, this is the Harrow household. Who is that? Excuse me. We don't know no Harrows over here. Now, Kitty, I'm not lying. Like,
That's why I'm laughing. I did not disagree at all, sis.
They like, who? Excuse me. Move. Get out the way. But also, trying to create those boundaries, create the conditions that will allow for positive things to go on. So I appreciate that my kids are as far as they are, because
Yeah. You ain't even got to put words to that, Karen. That whole thing that you did with that right there, that spoke volumes. But that's just it. How do you establish those boundaries? I know my pint-sized powerhouse might look like she's 15 years old, but that's a whole grown woman, right there. So how do you establish boundaries while respecting one another when you have to come in to a communal space and live in peace? Because when they live outside of the home, sometimes they develop different behaviors that are not necessarily the norm in your home. How do you embrace that with love? And again, continue to keep the peace. Can we have a conversation?
We can. Thank y'all in the comment street. I gotta shout out our comment street folks, studio audience members. Jackie says boundaries are important so everybody understands what we is and ain't gonna do. Okay, listen, we can make it pretty it up, but that's what it boiled down to. Did I tell you this week that Jackie is the truth? Maybe I didn't say it this week, but it's a real thing, because I think that a lot of times we as parents have been conditioned, right, with that whole do as I say. I ain't talking to no kid. Well, first of all, you're not talking to a kid. You're talking to an adult, right? And even if they are operating it from a position that we don't consider adulting-ish, right? They're over 18. We got to give respect in a different way. This is just me. Now, I know that that's a challenge for certain people, because it could be like, well, my house, my rules. We did that, right? When they was 15 and 16, my house, my rules. Just say no. My house, my rules, no to everything. That's what Girl Talk Now, Marisol said. Just say no. But what happens when their desires are not in alignment? You still got to set boundaries, right? Like I'm a person, I don't believe that there has to be curfews. If you, and I train my kids from the time that they turn 18 with that whole, Ma, can I stay out? The answer is no. Right? The answer is no, because you shouldn't be asking me what you're doing. Ma, I'm going to be out and I want you to know where I'm going to be, right? You got to learn how to flip those boundaries so that the expectation from the kids is, don't be asking me nothing about, you a grown person. Make decisions for yourself while you're there to be able to do that. And then, I'm sitting here because I got Raymond at the house. Raymond already shopping for stuff. He like, just give me a tiny house. Like, I don't even really need a whole house. I need a separation from you. But when it comes to those things, it's also, what's the timeline for that, right? How long are we able to do this? Is there something else that needs to happen with it? Blah, 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 all of the fun. So it's a lot of layers that comes into this, but we have the opportunity to like build and work and make sure that we're coming alongside our kids to not enable them, but to also respect them in their adulthood while they also have to respect ours. So maybe not, don't be putting your thumb on their necks or nothing like that, but creating spaces that they feel supported, they feel heard, and then do the same for yourself, because you'll find that your relationships with your children is going to be a whole lot better if you just do that part right there. Like
and to just add one more thing, make sure when you're dealing with your adult child who is now in the abode, remember to see yourself at their age and where they, and how somebody, how you would have desired someone to help you navigate it, through the situation. We came up through some rough days and we didn't always get the redirection in a loving manner. So as you said earlier in the conversation, Karen, because we know better, we have the opportunity to do better, to continue to build strong, loving bonds with our adult children as we all continue to adult through this life together. So listen, I'm gonna take this sip of water because I just need to wet my palate to prepare myself for this meal that I'm about to partake in. So I would ask you all, to perhaps do the same thing, because I don't need you choking on any of these nuggets that my girl, Coach Cash, is fitting to bring to you with this week's reflection of purpose. So that's right. Y'all come here to get fed, mind, body, and spirit. And here she is, ladies, gentlemen, AI, Autobots, whoever is in the comments. Get ready to receive an on-time, ready word of encouragement from our very own in-house master life coach. She got all the certifications, y'all. Coach Cash, Twisted Threads LLC. Come on, friend. Take it away.
Listen, this ain't going to be long, but it's going to be really impactful because I want to remind you, one of the things that I got to experience, cat out of the bag, my sister friend came, drove all the way down to come see about me and mine over the holidays, right? And we had the opportunity to have the triad. Can we say that? Because we had the triad. We had all of the coaches together in a room. And something came out of that of a conversation, and it was, I had another conversation. So Tilted, I had a round 2 with Dream Coach, right? And so the conversation that came, and y'all know I always come with the title, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna give you title credit, but that's all you get. And he know why. However, today's title, we want to remind you, right? Know when you are winning. Know when you are winning. Many of us struggle past the places that we need to struggle because we didn't understand that we were winning in this particular season. We are a lot of times busy planning, and y'all know we are here for the planning because I'm always talking about the cake. But there should be a daily reason why you should be able to get some of that cake. Why? Because it's important for you to understand that when you know when you're winning, your attitude shifts. your conversation will shift. Your goals will shift. When you already know that you're winning, it's like, okay, that was amazing. Now we can rinse and repeat. But because many of us have taken our eyes off the prize and don't understand that we are already winning. And winning does not always mean that everything is running smooth, right? Sometimes the train is going to be late and you got to stand outside in the cold. Sometimes the snow is going to come down and you don't know where the shovel is. Whatever it is, make sure that you can recognize when you are winning in the current season so that you don't miss it, right? So that you don't miss it, because it's important for us to understand that in the midst of all of this here, we get the opportunity to say, yes, this is the thing that we need to do. This is what it is that we got going on. These are the things that there is no problems, because we understand. Maybe I stubbed my toe, but I'm still winning. Maybe I'm 10 minutes late. Maybe the ham ain't done yet. Shout out to Raymond. Maybe the ham ain't done yet, but I'm winning because we gonna eat all of these sides no matter what. So take inventory of where you are right now, right? It is 29 days to the end of the year. There's a lot of things that maybe we thought we needed to do and we weren't able to get them all done, but it doesn't mean we lost, right? Go back, take a moment and pat yourself on the back for the simple wins, right? Maybe you just didn't cuss nobody out today. Maybe it's been a week. Maybe it's been a month. Maybe that's your testimony. Maybe you started a new job. You planted something. Maybe you got to see a harvest. Maybe you just didn't lose your mind in this season. There is always something to celebrate. And in the words of my husband that has a t-shirt, and we're going to see this t-shirt line before 2026. No matter what happens, I win. Now take that with you and remind yourself that even when the doctor's report says something that you don't like what it is, maybe you went to the mechanic and you ready to throat punch them because they said how many thousands to fix that car? God will make the provision for us, but he'll also make the way, right? For our minds to be expanded, for us to be reconditioned in the very areas that we are. But first, we got to know when we are winning. So take the moment, do your inventory, and make sure. Now, listen, if you happen to see how you've been winning, go ahead and send me over some cake, because y'all know what I'm here for, what I'm here for. I'm here for the cake, and we can't get to the cake until you start taking record of the goals that you actually have completed. We love y'all over here. We always want to see you win, but we also want you to be mindful of when you are in your winning season. Know when you're winning, Tilted. Back at you.
Yes, and you know, we stay winning over here at Unhinged Live. Thank you for that word, sis. It was absolutely on time. Know when you are winning. And I gotta give y'all that shoutro that y'all have come to know and embrace. That just be conversation. So listen, it's December 2nd, right? And the cold air has rolled into the atmosphere. And I just want to encourage you all to just be intentional about finishing the year strong. Now, so many of us have been walking with the entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whatever it is you have set your heart to do. Now, if you have a small project in your household, an organizational project that you've been trying to complete, finish the year strong. 20 minutes a day, you can accomplish that goal. If completing that book that you started 6 months ago that was really feeding your soul, and then life happened and distracted you from the pages, if you were really enjoying the book and wanted to finish reading it, finish the year strong. Finish the book. Again, 20 minutes a day. You'd be surprised at how many pages you can complete when absolutely encapsulated by the story. What I am getting at is just be intentional about reconnecting with people. Even it's the holiday season, and as you've heard on tonight's conversation, Coach Cash and I had the opportunity to break bread in her neck of the woods. Literally, we're going to talk off air about all the deer dodging I did on my way home. But that's a whole nother conversation. Be intentional about reconnecting with the people that you say you love, the people that you say you miss, because I would love to continue to share my life's testimony of the grand result of my doing just that. Being intentional brought me the gift of my sister. I was intentional about finding her when I said I wanted her. So yes, be intentional about finishing this year strong, because I promise you, for so many of us, the glitter drippings, the shine, and the winds of 2026 have already begun to place themselves in our laps. So finish the year strong. Don't let what the bank account doesn't say stop you or slow you down. Don't let that subtle word of discouragement that a he, she, them, or they may have spoken to you slow you down. Be intentional about owning, again, as you hear me say over and over again, be intentional about laying hold to exactly who it is God says you are. And I promise you, because his spirit rests in you, you're capable of doing all things. And that includes finishing the year strong. Just be. All right. So listen, it's Unhinged Live. It's your girl, Key to Tilt to Halo, all of the things. Sitting alongside my good girlfriend, Coach Cash. And she just got a little sass in that little that she just threw up there right now. And I'm here for all of it, including the cake, sis. It's been a great conversation. Thank you all. Every last one of y'all who hung out with us all night on it. It's just been a great conversation. And I just feel empowered by our guest tonight.
Yes.
You know, to see mom and listen, to see mother on screen still telling the stories. I could have listened to her talk for hours.
Yes.
But unfortunately, StreamYard has not allotted us that much more time. All right. So listen, it's the end of the show, Karen.
It is.
And we gotta go.
We do.
And until next time, y'all, keep it lit. And we are out.
Woo-woo.
Peace.